Make it like extra cool. I make sure this thing fits. Yep, fits good. Good evening. Thank you, Senator Hutchinson, President Fenves, distinguished guests, fellow recipients, congratulations. I want to start by thanking Senator Zaffirini. This is her fault. She nominated me. I thank you for this. She told me it was a big honor, and I really feel it now, seeing everybody that's here and humbled by everybody's accomplishments. When I looked at the list of past recipients, it's, yeah, you think you're doing well in the world till you read that, and you're like, oh my God. I want to thank my friends, my family, my film teachers, Charles Ramirez-Berg, who you saw speaking right there, he's wonderful. Tom Schatz, Steve Mims, the late Nick Caminos. You know, I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, one of 10 children. And education meant everything to my family, and that's what my parents always talked about. It's what would give us an edge. And it was always something I knew we had to do. And honestly, if any accomplishment I've ever gotten, graduating was the biggest accomplishment, and the one that I know my parents are the most proud of. It was a life-changing experience to be here at UT. I mean, if I hadn't come to UT because I'd gotten a small scholarship, I remember my dad coming up to my room and saying, "I'm sending you to UT." And I go, "Are you sure not UTSA? I mean, I'll save more money here." And he said, "No, you should go to UT." And nothing of this would have happened had I not done that, because the skills that I formulated while at UT and the path that I ended up taking all happened while I was here. That's why I stayed here and decided to make my film studio here afterwards, even though nobody was really doing that. I just thought, from UT, you can do anything. I came from a small high school. It was a graduating class of 26. There was 130 people in the whole place. And I remember when I came to UT and saw 50,000 students staring, not at me, right past me, I thought, wow, what a culture shock that was. Everyone knew me in high school as the guy who made these little movies and cartoons. Not much has changed, but I was that guy even in high school. And it shocked me so much. I remember thinking that very first day, I'm going to do something before I leave here that everybody knows who I am. And it changed completely how I went about things. I got a daily cartoon strip at the Daily Texan. So I thought, well, maybe that's what it is, because people started seeing, I had a little popular strip called Los Hooligans, which is little kids doing action and comedy. It was the precursor to Spy Kids. I didn't know at the time. And I made my very first film here. But, what that comic strip taught me, though, was something that I still quote today, things that I learned doing that daily strip. It taught me creative discipline, how to make something on demand. Because it's one thing to be an artist and kind of work on a whim, but when you have to work on a schedule and be creative on demand and be able to go and be creative 24/7, that's like something I really learned from that. I used to go to try to draw my comic strip and try to just dream it up, but no, you had to kind of draw it out and work it out, and I really learned that in those formative years. And I made my first movie, El Mariachi, while being still a student. And it was unheard of to go make a movie without any, crew or anything. I just felt like it could work. All those experiments that I was trying, it felt like a place you could just go and experiment and try anything. And when I told my teacher, Charles Ramirez-Berg, I want to go make this movie, he was like, go make it. And he was actually the first one to see it when I brought it back and gave me his first, my first critique, which he was very, very, very positive. When I think about how important that decision was to come to UT, it'd be a completely different story if I didn't come here. It's also the fact, Charles, that when I took a class with him called Latino Images, that he really showed and impressed upon me the importance of imaging in Hollywood, the lack of, proper representation for diverse faces and races on the screen, and showed examples that stuck with me so that when I went to go make my films, I applied it. And it's really changed how I make movies. It really formed how I make movies, and now this television network with an eye towards diversity when nobody else is doing it. For instance, on television, prime time, diversity in front of and behind the camera is about 2 or 3% for Hispanics. On my television network, it's 60 to 70%. And I got that instilled in me by someone like Charles Ramirez-Berg. You get away with so much when you're a student, just by saying, well, I'm a student, I don't know what I'm doing. And I for a long time, I didn't finish my degree till 2009 because I liked being a student for as long as possible. Because I made my film Mariachi and I was off before I could graduate. I wasn't that far from graduating, and I was making movies, and I really wanted my kids to see that being a graduate was important. So I came back, finished my degree, and in 2009, gave a commencement speech and got to graduate properly. So this is a big honor too, but it's kind of, it's kind of strange because I like to still think of myself as a student. So even though I'm an alumni now, I like to be a student in life. I really think what I learned here, surrounding yourself with masters, learning as much as possible. You never know it all, so always want to keep learning. If you're going to keep learning, might as well be a student and apply that mindset and that discipline. And I try to tell people that as much as you can. In fact, I just got announced, I was just thinking about it, how much I see myself as a student still, with that freedom to mess up and try things and experiment. I just got a big movie announced I'm doing with Jim Cameron, who's like the biggest filmmaker in the world. And in the quote, in the press release, he's talking about how kindred spirits we are. And my quote actually said, I see this as a master class in filmmaking. Because I really do, I'm going to go learn under this master. I mean, I still see myself as a student because those are the best, most informative years of my life. And being a student is what I carry with me always. And I learned that from UT. So thank you, God bless, and thank you for my father for coming up to me and saying, I'm going to send you there, because I knew how hard that was to do that. And it really changed my life. So, and he's here, actually, so thank you, Dad. Hook 'em horns.